Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last episode of Divorcing from Things That No Longer Serve You. I am so excited for my guest today. Her name is Dr. Annie Kaszina, and she is an unbelievable human. We have had a live together. We've done an ebook together, and Annie is a women's abuse recovery coach and an award-winning author of a bestseller on Amazon. The name of her book is Do You Choose Your Dog More Carefully Than You Choose Your Husband, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Annie is featured in Cosmopolitan. She is featured in BBC Radio, Women's Health, The Daily Mail, to name a few. And she's committed to basically helping women recover from toxic relationships so that they can create a joyful, fulfilling life. We'll be discussing the topic of narcissism. It is a bit of a buzzword at the moment, but we'll just be discussing the ins and outs. Annie and I have done a live together before, and it was absolutely amazing. And from that live, I got asked a lot of questions from a bunch of people that reached out that had specific questions, which I will be going through with her today. If you guys do have any of your own questions, please will you comment to them. If you are watching the replay, then hashtag replay on the replay. And I'm going to invite Annie. I'm going to see if she is online. Dr. Annie. So I'm going to just wait for her to pop online, and then we'll get the ball rolling. But basically, over the last 2 years, I've been hearing a lot of the N-word, and the N-word is narcissistic. Husband, wife, people are not sure if they're, sorry, I'm just seeing if she's here. I know that there's a time difference. People are not seeing that their needs essentially are being met. They don't actually know whether they are dating a narcissist or not. There are certain red flags that people are going through. There are certain things that people are only starting to realize now. I think over the last 2 years, we've gone through an immense amount of pain in our relationships, in our job scopes, in our own bodies, with our children, with divorce, breakups, people's weddings getting cancelled, and all of that. I'm just waiting to see if Annie is going to be joining, because I know that there is a time difference, and the last time we got a bit confused about the time difference, which was a bit hilarious. So I'm going to, until she comes on, and I hope that she does come on, and I hope I didn't mess the times up, I'm going to basically just speak a little bit about narcissistic tendencies. So I personally was dated to people that I do consider to have narcissistic tendencies. I am an empath. I am someone that has an immense amount of compassion and empathy for other people. And when I was dating these people, I started to realize that the best version of me came out, but it was with the wrong person. So yeah, Annie is coming in. I'm going to view her real quick. Super excited for this, and I hope Basil's with her. Let's see. There we go. Go live. You would think after 2 years, things would get a lot easier, but clearly not. Clearly not. I'm accepting the invite. There we go. Hello?
Hello, Jennifer. Yeah.
How are you?
Good to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so good. I'm so good. I'm so happy for you to be here. I'm so excited to chat. And I'm also so excited to see you in December, because this year has been really, really intense, I'm sure, for both of us.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice to kind of end on a nice connected note, because you are the last live that I'm going to be doing for the rest of the year, which I'm really excited about. But how are you, Annie?
Oh, I'm good, thanks. Mildly put out by the fact that we've got your variant over here.
No. We didn't create the variant. It's like that whole thing.
Yeah, well, it's not. I don't blame you personally. I just think we're all a bit pandemic tired now.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
I think I think it's one of the funniest things, because I think the end of the year, a lot of people have gone through so much, and they looking back and they're going, wow, we survived, but then they're going, okay, what's going to happen next? It's kind of that survival mode, which I think we all need to get out of is somehow, but we will. But yeah, and I introduced you, but for anyone that is listening, that is new to my following, can you introduce yourself? Like what is your passion? Just tell people a little bit about yourself that I didn't. And if Basil's there as well.
He's actually on a lap somewhere, because I think my lovely partner's keeping him out of the act for the time being. So I'm Annie Kaszina. I'm clearly a dog mother, and I am also a narcissistic abuse recovery coach, and helping women and men heal from narcissistic abuse is my passion, because I was a long time wife of a narcissist. I am a survivor of narcissistic abuse, and I think it's horrendous that anybody should have to suffer that way. So I made it my mission to support as many people as I possibly can.
And that's absolutely amazing. And I know even with your membership that you started, you must be helping so many people. And I get excited with that kind of stuff, because I know how hard it is to help people that are in such a state, and explain to them that it's not them and it might be the other person, and then they have to heal. And I think it's a lot. So after our last live and our ebook, actually, so it helped so many people. Like the amount of emails that I got was just so overwhelming. Like I think people started to be seen, right? Because you think that you're going crazy. And when someone writes an ebook or does a live and tells you that you're not going crazy, it's like really, really great. Like it's like one of the best feelings. You're like, I'm not crazy, but you still feel a bit crazy. So I wanted to do this live again with you, but I have some specific questions that actually people message me and ask me, and I just thought, yeah, let's just get into them. So the first one is, it says here, we all know what narcissistic personality disorder is, but I don't think we all do. So we can even maybe touch on that, and what a narcissist is. But what actually is narcissistic abuse syndrome? Like, what do people feel?
Well, this was actually the most beautiful question, because narcissists have a certain effect on everyone that they touch. If you've been around a narcissist for any length of time, you really do spend your time doubting yourself, second guessing yourself, feeling that you're going crazy. And it is a very deep feeling of going crazy, because the goalposts are constantly moving. You lose your capacity to trust the people that you normally trusted, like friends, family, because you've got a narcissist who's constantly telling you that they are the way, the truth, and the light, and everybody else is an idiot and you can't trust them, and that they're all secretly bad people, you're just too stupid to notice it. You get into this mess whereby you feel worth less, but the only person who can give you a sense of your own worth is the narcissist. In other words, precisely the person who is destroying your self-worth. And you end up feeling horribly insecure, absolutely full of shame. You're ashamed about everything that you do and everything you don't do. You could be an incredibly talented person, and a lot of survivors of narcissistic abuse are, but they feel that they're failures who have somehow managed to fool people. But there's that smart person out there, actually the narcissist, who will see them for being nothing. And they really lose their control of their own life. And just to give you an example, this came to me today. I hadn't thought about it for years. There was a point when my ex-husband had decided that he wanted to build a new place of work for himself, as you do, because he couldn't get on with any of his partners.
Obviously.
Yes, and so he was going to build this building, and he found one place that he wanted to have his little building, bless him. But in order to build it, he needed to have access to money that my father had left me in his will, because he needed that for the mortgage. And he said to me, I need your money. So I looked at him and said, you do? And he said, yes, I need your money because I have to do this. I have to build this building. And if not, our marriage will end. And by this time, I was so browbeaten that I actually agreed to it. And I was only...
Yeah, it's also fear. Like it's so much, actually.
Yes, but I was doing something that was totally damaging to myself. I was sacrificing, you know, my future, my freedom, my everything, because otherwise I'd lose this wretched man. Happily, the banks turned him down anyway, so somehow we had a happy ending on that one. But
I love how you say, somehow I would lose this wretched man, and that just makes me laugh, because you actually have such a fear to lose this person, but that's the best thing that'll ever happen to you. And I think it's that those kind of ties, they feel like they put their claws into you somehow.
They do.
Yeah. I'm going to look at questions just now, but basically then the next question was, and I found this fascinating because I've dated 3 narcissists and all of them were different. So I wasn't prepared for any of them. I was looking for the signs of the first and the second one. And then there was a new type of narcissist that I would experience. So the next question was, do you get different types of narcissists? And if so, like, what are some of those examples?
Well, you do get different types of narcissists. They present differently. Some of them are super charismatic, others are not. There does tend to be with a lot of them a theme that, you know, I'm actually someone pretty special, you know. That does seem to be teetering along there in the background. And it's really, I think they suck you in very quickly, and that's one thing to be really, really careful of. I think we're really tempted when someone says they love us, that we're the woman in their lives. You go, oh, hallelujah, as opposed to, you know, sorry, what kind of weirdo are you? We've been on 2 days. Yeah. You know, I don't know your middle name. You know, I don't know whether your socks smell, and yet you love me. And there are, of course, the covert ones who are differently creepy. And these...
I love how you explain things. That honestly gets me every single time. Differently creepy. I think I've met some of those before.
Yes. These are the people, oh, you're so wonderful. Let me put you on a pedestal. I'm just a poor failure in life and you're so wonderful. And I don't know what you're doing with someone like me. And one of the triggers, one of the things you should always look for is if someone says, I don't know what you're doing with someone like me, that's an admission. Get rid of them. If they I'm punching above my, if they say I'm punching above my weight with you, get rid of them. You know, listen.
That's actually, I guess it's so, I think it's so difficult, especially because when narcissists choose their victims, it's generally the ones that are the empaths. It's generally the ones that are the kind ones. Like I know for me, as you said, the guys that I dated, they said the exact same thing to me. And here's Jen going, don't worry, I'll fix you.
No.
And it's the biggest mistake ever. But that's they get onto the cords because you have so much power to heal them, but they don't care.
Well, you know, you're not a psychotherapist and you're not getting paid by the hour. Why would you anyway?
Now I agree, but back then it's very hard for me to look back at like 20-something-year-old Jennifer and go, oh my word, you thought that you had all figured out, but you were so aware of actually how intentionally evil some people can be, and they are.
Yeah, and it is tough when you're young, but you know, that's why we probably shouldn't be making long-term major decisions at that age. But you want someone oven ready. You don't want someone who needs fixing or curing or adopting, you know, or nurturing. If you want that, go to the dog shelter and get a dog, for God's sake.
But that's literally the way forward, is that I think, and like I know even with a lot of my clients, I'll tell them you're in love, or you're stuck onto the version of this person that you're actually trying to change.
Yeah.
Like the present person is actually a really shitty person.
Yeah.
But that's when we have to dig deep, like within ourselves. I think sometimes, because we attract these people, but also we can say no to them, because then we're not their type anymore, because we're not being subservient when they're testing us.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the nice little tips that I learned early on was, when you're going out with someone, when you start a relationship with someone and things seem to be going really well, it's a good idea to do something small that doesn't fit with their plans and see how they respond, whether they can respond like a civilized person, or whether in that immortal line they throw their toys out of the pram. Because if they throw their toys out of the pram, you know what you're dealing with.
So I think, can I tell you what one of the hardest things I think personally, and what I see, is many people know that they should be doing that little test, and many people know what they'll actually get, because your gut tells you, but you don't actually want to do that test, because somehow we actually like to live in discomfort and sometimes pain, because that's more known, which I think is really messed up. And hopefully in 2022 people will like defer from that, because let's say you've fallen for someone and now you have to throw a span in the works. Sometimes we don't want to see people's real true colors in the beginning, which we should. I now do that. Like when I go on dates, okay, I don't date, but the next date someone's going for a blood test, they're going for a psyche. I'm joking, but it's like one of those things where I want to know everything. What makes a person tick? Like, how do they react to things? But I think people are finding it very difficult to do that, because they don't want to actually prove themselves right, that they loved a monster.
Well, then they need to learn self-love, because the idea is that you love yourself enough that if you've invested a couple of months or longer in a person and they show you that they are a very unfortunate person to be around, you can say, okay, I'm walking away from this. I will survive. It's not, my ideal wish, but I can do this. It's about loving yourself first and trusting yourself first. And certainly that's what I find with my clients, that these women who have formed often disastrous relationships, just like me, that they get into good relationships, but if there's something that's not right, they say, well, either this can be worked out or I can walk away, and I'm fine either way. That's power, when you know that you can.
And that is actually ultimate power. Like I know for me, when it comes from, it's that inner knowing and that trust. But when you've recovered from a narcissist and you've gone on that journey, it's easier to trust yourself. And I think that's why it's so important that there are people like you, because I think when people leave a narcissistic relationship, the biggest thing is that they don't actually trust themselves. Yeah. So when the inner knowing comes and the inner trust comes, I think the rest can kind of resonate. Yeah. Okay. So the other question was, how early can we spot a narc? But I think we've dealt with that one, unless you want to add something else. Like,
often you can spot them quite early. Sometimes it takes longer, but you just have to believe the evidence.
What is some of the evidence? Because I think I need a bit of an update in my dating life. Like, tell me some of the red flags.
Well, I think some of the red flags are being too keen on you too soon, going for too much intimacy too soon, being absolutely fascinated by everything you say, but actually angling the conversation to get a good idea of your weaknesses and frailties. You know, what went wrong with your last relationship? Why the hell is it their business? How is your relationship with your parents? Why do you need to know? All sorts of intrusive questions that they don't have a right to ask. getting tetchy, mood swings, talking about themselves excessively, having a grandiose view of themselves. These are some of the red flags. There are plenty of others. And the biggest thing is what your gut tells you first off.
Yeah, the gut sometimes screams, and then you're like, no, this is the one.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Believe your gut, you'll find out the hard way.
Yeah, totally. Okay, then the next one is, can you... Oh, so I'm going to ask this one first. So I know when I started figuring out that I was dating a narcissist, because my mind was so triggered every moment, like from getting ignored to all these things, I started reading about narcissists and understanding them, because that's just who I am. I need to understand something to be able to see it. Obviously now I'm trusting more on my gut, but back then there had to be evidence to kind of back it up. And that was about 7 years ago. But since then, I found that the word narcissist is like a buzzword. Like, some people just say it, they'll be like, oh, he's such a narcissist. I'm like, oh, I don't think so, right? So I think it's become a buzzword. And do you think people are using it in such a bad manner that it's actually causing maybe more harm, or it's a good thing that people are speaking about it now?
It's an interesting one. I think it's a blessing in some ways that it's become so common. There is always a problem when people trivialize it, that, you know, he's a narcissist because he wanted to watch the football tonight. No, he wanted to watch football. Narcissism is all about being very self-absorbed and damaging. Yeah. If you don't have that deliberately damaging component in it, it may not be a narcissist. The other thing that's really quite creepy that I find on Instagram a lot is you've got all these people coming forward and saying, narcissists are good people, really. Yeah.
No, which I don't really believe, to be honest. Like, I don't think even a narcissist can convince me of that anymore.
I reckon a narcissist, if you sat and listened for long enough, might. I know that narcissists, I can sit with them and I can go into their kind of world, and then I come out and go, that was scary, that was crazy, you know, because they are very persuasive. They have their entire world view, and they look so honest when they're telling you that day is night. Bless them.
I love it. Bless them. So for me, I also think that more people talking about it is something, and I also think that the more people become aware of it and the red flags, we can avoid it, right? Yeah. Because I think, and you'll know this, even I'm sure even before you got married or whatever, you feel it in your gut. You feel something telling you, but it doesn't actually make sense, right? Yeah. Like, I wish I had people like you to follow to give me the signs. I had to figure it out myself, and then I still felt bad. So it's that shame, I think, a lot of the people carry. And how are people dealing with shame of removing themselves from narcissists? Is it getting better? Are people getting more self-aware? Like, I like to know if actually things are getting, like, people are becoming more aware and they're healing quicker, like in your practice with your membership and all of that.
I think that's a difficult one. I mean, I think definitely this whole awareness of narcissism helps, but we walk this uncomfortable line. There's still social judgment. And then there's this whole piece about accountability. You know, we're all meant to be accountable for our own stuff. But narcissists and their flying monkeys have this great way of making you responsible for the narcissist stuff. And you're never given any slack for not knowing what you didn't know. And then there's the piece that an awful lot of people who end up in a relationship with a narcissist do so because they grew up with a narcissist and they're marrying either daddy or, you know, marrying or living with either daddy or mummy. And if it was your upbringing, it's really, really hard to step back as a young person and say, You know, that's...
Oh, sorry, the internet just went off. Let me just invite Annie again. We live in South Africa, so basically sometimes the internet gets a little bit iffy, but we are on it absolutely fine. Annie's coming in now. Okay, switch accounts. Source check. I'm just waiting for Annie to join, but I hope you guys are enjoying. If you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to pop them. I'm looking at the comments here now. I'm just waiting for, there we go, Annie. There we go, sorry.
Excitement.
I'm so sad. Okay, you know what the thing is though, whenever the variant or corona disappears, I think I'm just going to fly to the UK and come chat to you face to face. Because I can't handle technology anymore. It's driving me insane.
Likewise.
So as you were saying, so firstly, a lot of comments came up when I came back on, and what I'm going to do is that their video, I've saved it and then I'm going to join them, right? So it's going to make things a bit easier. But what were you saying about narcissists at the end until I just saw my face freeze and then it just didn't stop freezing?
Gosh, we were talking about shame, weren't we?
Yes. So basically, I think a lot of people, like I know I've had clients before where the one client, it was a settlement. The one client was like, he's a narcissist, and the other client was like, she's a narcissist. And they would say to me, don't you agree? And I actually think that neither of them were narcissists, to be honest, or maybe both of them were narcissists, but it wasn't up to me to diagnose, right? Like I felt like saying both of you just need to actually just chill and sort yourself out, because attacking each other in the divorce isn't going to help. But the other thing that I wanted to ask you is, I know the biggest thing that I deal with is co-parenting with a narcissist. And I think that is probably one of the hardest topics, because a narcissistic parent, for me, can have the most impact on a child's life, that actually can destroy a child's life. But how do you co-parent? Like, how do you change a narcissist parent? Is it possible? How do you go around it? Like, I think a lot of people need that advice.
Yes. Well, you can never co-parent with a narcissist. As you say, you parent around the narcissist. And the most important part of that parenting is getting yourself into the right headspace. The reality is that co-parenting with a narcissist is so incredibly difficult because of the narrative inside your own head. When you separate from a narcissist, you have this idea that this is a very cunning, manipulative, clever person. And therefore, you're always feeling on the defensive. And then the narcissist will always give you this little story about how wonderful their life is, and basically how awful your life is and what a poor, pathetic thing you are. And as long as that feeds through to you and harms you, it's incredibly hard to stand your ground. So the reality is, all you can do is be one good parent. You cannot control the narcissist, and you cannot have a reasonable dialogue with the narcissist, because as a matter of principle, if you say to the narcissist, look, I think our child needs this, I think it's hugely important for them to have this, as a matter of principle, the narcissist will say, no, you're wrong. I don't think that at all. You've got that completely wrong. So if you want to do something for the good of your children, you've always got to think of a way to package it so that it fits with the narcissist's aspirations. And that can be difficult, but you have to think, what do they want to get out of it? And they want to be looking good, and they want it to be easy for them. So sometimes
and looking good, that's the most important for them. Wow, especially in school and parents' evenings, like that is the biggest thing that I deal with. If a narcissistic parent is thrown under the bus by another parent in front of the school, then it's war.
Yes.
Then it's proper war.
Yes, but if you can sort of flatter them, and there are times when you can flatter them and use their massive ego against them, that works. Yeah. And another thing that
so I think
yeah,
I'm listening. Sorry, it's
another thing that can work really well is if you work out what you want as an outcome, and then you tell the narcissist that you want exactly the opposite, you can actually get them to give you what you want. I've seen that happen with my clients, that they say, this is really important to me. And then the narcissist says, oh, no, you can't have that. And they go, yes, because it gives them what they
reverse psychology.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is, once you stop expecting the narcissist to behave like a decent human being and start understanding that it'll behave like a spiteful little 2-year-old, you can actually start to run rings around them, because they will always behave in pretty much the same way. So you can use their predictability against them, which is one of the things that I teach.
I also do that in my legal space, to be honest. I will always say to my clients, I know that you might think I'm being nice to your ex, but we're going to get what you want, right? Like, it's called saying, excuse my language, fuck you with a smile, right? Like, it's stroking the ego. It's but it takes incredible awareness and lack of ego to do that. Like, some of my clients are amazing, they listen and they do it, and some of my clients will be like, no, I'll never give in. I'm like, well, then you're going to get destroyed, because you can never go up against a narcissist if you naturally like that. You won't win. You won't win.
Absolutely. And how much money do you want to lose in pointless legal wrangles?
Exactly, completely. That's I'm so happy that we've covered co-parenting, because I think a lot of parents struggle because they also, this is the main thing. I need to protect my child from him or her, because if him or her are around the child too much, the child's going to become a narcissist. So it becomes about protecting the child, but actually the way that they sometimes go about it hurts the child and them more than actually the narcissist. Do you find that as well?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. You cannot live in fear. You cannot live with the fear that your child will become a narcissist, or that your child will be destroyed by the narcissist. When I look at the people that I work with, and they have had such a traumatic life, and yet they can make massive shifts. And they can be healed. Their children can be healed. But the other piece is that, provided their children have one loving parent, that may be a lot more than they actually had, and they turned out all right. One loving parent is the best thing that you can give a child, the best protection, the best support.
Totally. And it's a bonus if you have 2 loving parents. Like, that's like the ultimate bonus for a child.
Yeah.
And then the last question that I wanted to ask you, Annie, and this question was a bit funny when I was writing it out, because it just made me laugh. I don't know why. And the question is, are narcissists happy? And why I'm laughing is because it's like, I've never been able to figure this out. I don't think so, but why do they do what they do? Like, what is the end goal? Is it just to hurt?
Yes. Well, narcissists don't do happiness. I think that happiness is simply showing up as you in the present. That's the only place you can be happy. And narcissists are never actually in that present, and they're never really themselves. It's all about this constant game of mental chess that they're playing. And that's where they are. There are times when they are triumphant, when they get what they want. There are times when they're full of themselves, but actual happiness, which tends to be a sharing thing, no, they are never happy. I would say that they're not.
But it is like one of those things. And then the last thing that I want to close off is, from your experience, can a narcissist change?
Change what? They're underpowered.
So like change other people's lives by destroying them. No, I'm joking. So no, but like, can they, if they're to come, someone had to say, so a lot of people, they say, if you can admit that you're a narcissist, generally you're not a narcissist. There's all those tests, and I've read about them, and I've like gone on this journey of them, but I want to know your opinion. Like, if someone is a narcissist and they say, I think I've lost everything in my life, come to spiritual awakening, I think I'm a narcissist, can you change me? Like, what would your answer be? Like, would you go yeah or no? Like,
well, I would very much doubt it. There's a client of mine at the moment whose husband is worth a lot of money, and I cannot tell you how many spiritual awakenings he's had during the divorce hearings, because he doesn't want to see 50% of his money going. And a friend of mine was married to a narcissist who changed her in for a much, much younger model. And he's changed his clothing, he's changed where he lives, he's changed the way he does his art, he's changed many
tactics more than
external. Yes, but is he the same miserable, cowardly, shallow, nasty little person he was? Yes, absolutely.
That makes sense, because they do adapt. They are sometimes very, very charming, but they're extremely destructive. And I think that's why, like, my whole mission with doing lives with you is to bring people into awareness, because to recover from a narcissist is extremely difficult. But to leave a narcissist, to live with a narcissist, to stay with a narcissist can be soul, heart, and mind shattering. It can shatter every part of our being. Yeah. So if anyone that is listening to this is trying to get through recovery, or trying to get out of a narcissistic relationship, or co-parents, or anything with a narcissist, what advice would you give them, like, for the now?
That you have to believe that it's not going to get better, because it's not. You have to understand that if you stay, it will kill you by inches, and that the best thing that you can ever do is leave. There is a life beyond narcissism, and any life without a narcissist in it is a good life. It is better.
We can preach for it. We can vouch for it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you don't need to have a man in your life to feel happy. Or a woman. You just need a narcissist out of it, and suddenly you see the colours in the day, and you can sort of be free to do your own thing. And if you have, you know, a little bit of food on your face or anything, it's okay. Everything is okay without a narcissist around to destroy it. You know, even having bills to pay is better without a narcissist around.
Honestly, you hit the nail on the head. Like,
yes.
I think the fear sometimes is because the very person that actually hurt you, which is a narcissist, is the very person that you try to find solace with. Yes. And I think there's that whole thing, is that how can you heal in a place that hurt you or broke you? But I think, Annie, you give a lot of people hope that they can come out the other side. So I just wanted to thank you for that, because so many people are struggling, and although some people can get over themselves, some people can't. And with people like you in the world, I do think it actually makes it a better, I feel like I'm on a pageant sometimes, so I get emotional, but like it does, I do think that it's leaving the world a little less broken. And I think it's just helping people. So I just wanted to honor you for that.
Well,
and thank you for being with me again. I'm so excited, and hopefully I'll get to meet you face to face. If South Africa doesn't have any more variants and we get bugged.
Well, we did our bit. We had the Kent variant, so.
You know, everyone has to do their bit except for the narcissists, because they probably won't, and if they do, they'll probably hurt people. But thank you so much for
Thank you.
everything. And yeah, if you want to say anything else, you're more than welcome to before we end.
Well, the only thing that I would like to say is that you have a fan club among my membership. They absolutely adore you for your comments about how to divorce a narcissist. They're just blown away.
That makes me so happy. Thank you, Annie.
You know, I've had people say priceless, priceless. And that's all they can say because they're just so blown away. It is so important, the work that you do.
Thank you. That makes me, like, you know, I've reached the end of this year and I think so much has happened that I'm just in such gratitude that, and it's so funny, my one friend kept saying, she's like, you keep saying that you're grateful for everything. I'm like, yeah, because it's been a really shit year. Like, it's been really hard. So that kind of compliment, it means absolutely everything to me. So thank you for that.
Well, it's a pleasure. And I suppose one thing, if I may add one more thing, is that actually finding this place of gratitude, stepping into this place of being grateful and celebrating whatever you can is a hugely healing process. It helps you stay out of insanity in tough times like this. So let's all of us focus on the things that we can take joy in and celebrate and be grateful for if we're happy with that particular phrase.
Totally. And then we get to raise the vibration. And like for me, I think I like being around people that are happy and they're healing or they're healed and they're not hurting other people. Right. So I think it's just about finding your tribe. And I just wanted to close it off is that if anyone is dating a narcissist or is married to a narcissist, it's gonna get easier. Like the more that you inject self-love into yourself, the more that you recognize your worth, the more that you recognize that you're enough, it gets easier and your pain does get to become your power and your freedom. Yeah, thank you so much, Annie. And if anyone has any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out. We have written an ebook on 5 tips of how to heal from narcissistic abuse. If anyone wants the link, you're more than welcome to DM me. But have the most amazing holidays and Christmas and everything.
You too. Lovely to speak to you today.
Thank you so much, Annie. Keep well.